Deeb Salem, what did he do at Goldman Sachs?
He was a mortgage trader, a fairly high-up mortgage trader. He was managing director, which is the second highest title at Goldman. And he helped put on what was known as the Big Short at Goldman, which
made the firm a lot of money.
Saved it from a lot of losses during the downturn, put it in a better position than other banks coming into the crisis. A lot of banks were hurt in 07, whereas Goldman had a great year, and that set them up very well. And you know, he was well compensated for that.
That was 2007, 2008. This case concerns 2010.
Right.
Was the mortgage desk making that much money in 2010?
Not as much as it was at the peak, but it was still making, according to him, more than $1 billion in each of 2009 and 2010.
Not insignificant. He was well paid for that.
Right. In 2009, he was paid $15 million. Lloyd Blankfein, the CEO of the company that year, got $9.5.
He was paid more than Lloyd Blankfein.
Right. So, and he was not the highest producer. Yes. So he was making a lot of money for the firm and a lot for himself. But 2010 is the issue because that year he did not get what he was expecting.
What does Goldman have to say about this?
They called the claims utterly ridiculous.
You would think.
And you know, his case is that he was a scapegoat. He should have been paid more based on his production, but he was docked, and Goldman does not fight this. He was docked for a written warning he received for his conduct, which related to a 2007 self-evaluation. In that self-evaluation,
Goldman takes these things very seriously.
Right. In that self-evaluation, he was kind of bragging about himself, and he talked about attempting a short squeeze, which is, you know, kind of a borderline market manipulation type situation. He says he was using it colloquially and didn't actually mean a literal squeeze. But that email was part of the Senate investigation into Goldman Sachs, became public, was part of the allegations against Goldman by the Senate, and so it did a lot of reputational damage.
And that self-evaluation, like you said, really treads the line there on the manipulation front. I mean, I wonder what Goldman's response was to that self-evaluation back in 2007, and if there were any repercussions, considering then they all of a sudden paid this guy $8 million.
Right. So at the time, he says that he got no pushback of that self-evaluation, except for a different line in which he compared himself to Michael Jordan, and they asked him to be a little bit more professional.
So that gets the criticism.
So that got the criticism. He said at that time he got no criticism of it until the Senate started asking about it, and then it became an issue.
There's no question Deeb Salem has a fairly, shall we say, high opinion of himself. A hearing held on February the 25th, the transcript of which I understand you obtained a copy of.
Right.
At that hearing, Deeb Salem is quoted as saying, "Let's be very clear. I was one of the most sought-after investment professionals in the mortgage industry. I had the opportunity throughout the course of my career and throughout from that day, from almost every month that I was at Goldman, to leave for other opportunities."
Right.
He thinks he's pretty hot.
Yes. Well, the case he's making is that Goldman executives made verbal promises to him, and that's why he stuck around. His thing is, I could have left for a hedge fund at any point, and I didn't, and they didn't pay me what they said they were going to pay me, and that's why I'm suing to get this money that I'm owed.
Any chance he gets that money? Any sliver that he actually gets it?
You know, his arbitration hearing was thrown out fairly quickly. It's based on a lot of verbal promises, and his case is he didn't get to present his whole case. That's what his lawyer says. They didn't get to present his whole case, so we don't know what else he has. But what was dismissed was a lot of he said.